and not the dinosaurs, for instance, because we were better built or better able to adapt and continue adapting. So that, in my opinion, speaks to evolution in the sense that, you have or you exist in a world with practical realities. These things, whether you accept them or not, they are happening. It's just like, the whole .com boom and then the whole information age. If you like, say you're a legacy company, you're not going to change, whatever it is, those things will happen. So you exist in that world, and then it's your responsibility to evolve, to survive. And surviving, in my opinion, is optimizing your experience. If I'm to take it a level higher, right? Optimizing your experience just such that you can thrive, you can keep doing whatever it is. So different contexts, we have different priorities and different all of that. The reason I'm saying all of this is the way I think personally, the way I think about, okay, and before I say this, let me also say that order is something that holds the world together. Whether it's political order, whether it's religious order, blah, 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 whatever it is, order is, because we are so many different people, we are 7 billion of us, you need different constructs, whether it be gender constructs or religious constructs, or, you need political demarcation, you need all these things, like different constructs, so that we can organize. But the objective is to help us organize. And the reason we are trying to organize is to help us to thrive. So at the end of the day, the end game is for all of us to thrive, right? And to thrive, you must evolve. And so how are you evolving? What are the realities you face, and then how do you adopt, or how do you adapt, whatever it is? I'm not one of those people that try to compare. I mean, in some cases, we all find ourselves doing it, but I don't think there is any superior philosophy or any superior culture or any superior whatever in and of itself. However, some cultures and some ways of thinking may be superior in light of certain realities. So, for instance, the white man came, colonized us, blah, 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 blah. I don't cry over that, because the white man exists today and I exist today. And, we exist in the same world. We are competing in the same world. I know in Nigeria, we are very myopic as a nation, as a people together, not individuals, but as a people. We're very myopic and we don't really see that. But you exist in a world where, we're in constant competition. So I'm competing today with the white man on the same playing field. So how do I adopt myself? I don't believe, this whole superiority of African culture thing or whatever. If the white man didn't come, what would we have been? Blah, 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 blah. That's not my problem. Like that's, whatever it is. All I care about is I exist in a certain world today. How am I evolving personally, professionally, philosophically, blah, 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 and otherwise to compete in the world that I exist in today? And that really is my, focus. Because I've seen, sometimes you're talking to people and you realize, and this is, mostly in Nigeria, which is where I spent like most of my life anyway. People are saying all these things. Like you're talking to somebody, they're talking. You're getting a sense of who this person is. You're getting a sense of what drives them. You're getting a sense of what motivates them. But many times these people, they themselves, they are not conscious of that fact that these, like they haven't, try not to use big English, but the word delineate, like how you arrange everything and break it down and line it up before you, and you can actually look at it across the spectrum. Like these are the different respective factors that drive me as a person. These are the things, or these are the real motivations behind why I do what I do. So you have some people at the very highest, when you keep asking, why do you want to do this? Because this. Why do you want to do this? Because this. Why? Because this. Because. By the time you get to the end of the day, you see that they are just trying to satisfy a basic human instinct of wanting to help other people. And that is why they are doing the career path they've chosen. That is why their first instinct, for example, is when they see someone they want to reach out. That's why they do blah, blah, like all those things they do. It is for that reason. So we need to be very aware, acutely aware of our driving force, our motivations, our personal compass. And I'm not even talking about right and wrong. When Uzo, when you were talking, you're talking about how, some things you should not do, some things, I'm not even, I don't believe there's any I mean, apart from things that hurt like other people directly, I don't believe there's any superior or like 100% argument on what is right and wrong, or what we consider as fair and unfair, whatever it
Everybody
is.
has
That
their
is
own
a whole
different
another conversation. But like, no, sorry, I'm not talking about right and what is right and wrong. What I'm talking about is, as a person, how conscious are you about your constant, because you're constantly evolving, how conscious are you about your constant evolution process? And then how are you leveraging that to improve and increase your experience out of life? Because different things happen every single day. You go to work, you're interacting with people, you're earning money, you're making mistakes, you're dating different people, you're whatever it is, like all those things that happen. Corona has happened now.
I'm not dating different people.
No, I mean over time you would have dated different people. That's what I mean.
Let me say
But
my own personally, right? Because I think in something like this, really, you can't really talk for somebody else. I think this type of discussion it has to be you, you know. So
yeah,
for me personally, right, I can't exactly tell when, exactly the time, you know, but I started, I don't know why, I can't really say why, you know, but I noticed that it got to a point where I started being conscious about why I'm here in the first place, you know, and that's why what drives me, sometimes when I'm doing something, people would think that, oh, this guy is, you know, because I'm not going a route that every other people are just going, right? It's because at some point I've become conscious of myself, right? And some things I do, people think is stupid, right? But it's me. I know why I'm doing this. I know why this thing feeds me, right? I'm consciously wondering and calculating, how can I feed myself more? How can I evolve in this line, right? It's very personal. It has nothing to do with any other individual outside, right? It's very personal to me, you know. So I think for me, right, when I noticed, when I had that sense, that conscious sense that, look, I started feeling like, oh, these are the type of things that my why. I started asking, what is my why? You know. So when I started asking that, what is my why, right? And I discovered that this is the line that personally I don't know whether to use my spirit or myself.
Your inclinations.
Yes, it's more inclined.
Those are your inclinations. Yeah.
Yes, it's more inclined to things like this. So the next question now was, what will I do about it, right? Meaning, what will I do to better involve myself towards that direction?
Yep.
So in the quest of trying to find out what I can do, there was a lot of struggle, because I think that's the easiest part. Knowing what you can do is the easiest part. Doing it is the difficult part, right? So when I looked at it, I said, oh yes, it's very easy by the time you discuss with people. And that's the thing. Like when I'm having a discussion with somebody, right? The person might give me answers from everywhere, but there's something I want to pick out. And once I've picked out that thing, the rest of the discussion is just, okay, nice one, nice one. You understand? Because I know what any discussion I'm having with somebody, I know what I'm going to get. Most people don't know. People just talk, they argue. It's all about argument, correct, who is right, who is wrong, right? But I've gotten to a stage where there is something that I need. Once I get that thing, I'm okay, you know. So now, in that quest, knowing that, oh, I need, maybe this is the type of thing I should be doing. The question is, can you really do this thing? Because I felt that that's where the difficult part is. Some of them, even when you start doing them, it becomes distractions. This is a word of distraction, right? There's a lot of distractions here and there that can push you outside of yourself, you know. And that now led me to start asking, or to start looking for why. Like, why is it that I was this at some particular point in time, and then today I am now this? That's because I always believe that there's cause, and I believe in cause and effect, right? What is that chain of events that have triggered me to move towards this direction. Let me know those things so that I can leverage on that to better improve myself to get to where I want to be, So
yeah,
that's why I started becoming diligent. Like places I go, have conversation with, right? Things I watch, right? Books that I read, um, um, the type of people I interact with in my workplace, or rather the type of people I give my energy, because you can interact with a lot of people without really giving your energy to. I feel that those things really matter. When if you really want to evolve yourself to be better, I just feel like interacting with the right people, putting your energy in the right places, changes you. It changes you over time, and then you'll get to a point where you will look back one day and be like, wow, you will tell yourself, like, I've really changed. This is not, like, I know how many times I say that now. There are a lot of things that I used to do before, but I don't even find it tasteful. It's not,
yeah.
you know.
Can I add something real quick? There's another dimension which I found personally and it's something that I've developed better more recently, and like I found very useful, right? And this is, as basic as it may sound, being able to think on multiple levels and think from multiple lenses. I'm going to explain. So you're thinking of an issue, for instance, there's something I read somewhere, Ray Dalio's book. He said people tend to judge right and wrong, fair and unfair, strictly based on how it affects them. So for instance, they say, this guy is paying his security guy 35,000 naira. Do you think he's fair? Oh, no, it's not fair, it's not fair, it's not fair, blah, blah, blah. You're shouting. But then you've only thought of it from one level and from one lens, which is what? If I were that security guy, how will I feel? Will I like to be earning 35K? No. So being able to step back and say, okay, this security guy, what are the expectations of the security guy? Or, okay, I've thought of it from the lens of me. Now, let me think of it from the lens of the security guy, right? What has he been used to earning before? How much is he earning now? How does that compare? Then let me move from that level and think of it from the lens of the person hiring him. What value does that man expect to get from his security guy? What value, you take that versus, and then you say, okay, for instance, how do I price that value? What value, like how do I quantify that value in monetary terms? Since we're talking about, is the salary fair? And then you say, compared to what that man expects from a security guy, what value is he getting from a security guy? There's that. There's also, what are the man's other expenses? What are his other costs? Blah, blah, blah. Is there room for him to wiggle and maneuver and, see, maybe he can pay an extra whatever from the security. So all these things I'm doing is just thinking of it from different perspectives and everything, and removing yourself. So, I've had arguments where I'm talking to people and I say, hey, personally, this is my view, but from this other lens, this is, and then I'll give you another interpretation of this thing. From this other lens, I'll give you another interpretation of it, and I'll give you different interpretations of it and different positions based on looking at it from different lenses. So you as a person, you're able to,
take
think
yourself outside the situation.
Thank you. Bring yourself outside the situation. Look at that thing from a bird's eye perspective, and then you look at it and you said, okay, so you can make a more quality argument. You can make a more informed, or have a more informed conversation and make more informed decisions as a person. So even when you're making your personal decisions and you say, okay, what do I want to do? I'm inclined to do ABC. Okay, but if I step back a little bit, if I think about it like this, if I think about it like that, if I think about it like that. So that is I found very, very useful. Just being able to think on those multiple levels about different things and really trying to pull yourself and, sort of looking at the situation from that perspective is, it's really helpful, both in terms of decision making, in terms of conflict resolution, in terms of even just for having conversations with people from which you learn. And I think the overall take is that, and this is, taking it a level higher, is like, you have to be very, very, like, super conscious of your evolution. You have to be very, very conscious of it, because these things happen all the time around us. Something as little as you walk into a shop. One time earlier in the year, I went to grab lunch, and I saw a lady with her children, and she was like, they were unruly. I'm like, I was looking at them. She was trying to please them. These are little children. The oldest one maybe is like 7 years old or something. Little children. Oh, what do you want? This one said he wants that. That one said he wants that. That one said he wants that. And then one was very rude to her. And I looked at it, and I just immediately thought of, what the hell? Like, can't you call these children to order? Why should you, like, why would you do this? And then immediately I thought of the kind of dad I want to be. And immediately I thought of how I was raised. I thought of different things in a split second. And I wasn't conscious of it, but I had my resolve to be a good parent, or to be a whatever kind of parent, was strengthened in that moment. And then I picked up, remember, like I just said, I picked up my experience about how I was raised, picked up my experience about how I believe children should be raised, picked up my experience about which I had just, my current experience of just seeing these children being very unruly and unfair and rude to their mom. I had picked all these things, and Emeka had evolved a little bit in that moment. But, I made an extra conscious effort to actually, when I was going back to the office, to actually think through and reflect, okay, what does this mean for me? Blah, blah, blah. Dissecting all these pieces of information, old information, new information, old experience, new experience, and then building it into something bigger, and then sort of strengthening my resolve and evolving a little bit in that, from that perspective of parenting. So it's just like, I think, that's like a very important takeaway that would be really great if we can all like get from this conversation, is really being very conscious of all those little things here and there, just those little things that form those building blocks that over the years, sort of evolve. And really try to be able to think of things from multiple lenses and on multiple levels. So,
Let me come in a different direction now.
Okay.
Please, let's not put so much on ourselves to think too much. Let's enjoy life, actually. Let's enjoy life.
Of course.
Because man, oh boy, my brother. Hey! Dollar is high, yo.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Hey, you see, like today, the 2 cars that I brought out, I went to give my client, the amount of money I lost. You should start telling me this time, like my brother. Who want to look at this dynamics like this? When I've lost like 1 million naira. I'm not saying what they talk, but my point is like,
but
we should just actually.
But you know why you
Which one of your stuff is muted?
Exactly. But this is exactly what I feel why something like this is important. Because look, when you live in this world, a lot of things happen, good, bad, things that will make you react in different ways. Like just what say now, losing money and all of that. Now there are some people that this same situation will happen to, and they will be able to look at it in a different direction that will help them to be more creative, to find better solution faster than you will. And it's I don't think it's a bad thing. Like and neither is it a stressful thing. To me, I think it's more like just being conscious and turning that to a way of life. It's just being conscious and turning. I actually feel like that is one of the major things that critical decision makers in Africa lacks compared to the Western world. Anytime I see, like when I'm watching like a parliament from the Western, any of those House of Assembly or reps or senators, having some type of critical discussion about maybe world affair or something happening in their country. Like, it always amazes me how deep and critical they measure every
Yeah.
step and decision, especially when to affect the common man, what it means. And somebody will come
Yeah.
and give you perspective from that side. And then you feel like, whoa, me will talk this to yourself. I don't think I will. You understand? Like, it's very rich. And that's what makes their country grow and expand. You know, because go deep.
I will say what those guys, and you're taking me back to what I said, Rebecca. I know that we might digress a bit, but it still goes back to what I said. These guys, they had their own form of evolution in their own political system.
Yeah, but that's like I'm sorry,
but you can't make an excuse. You can't make an excuse. Like, critical thinking is
as a society. Now we're talking
about
no.
You have to make excuse. Let's look at it the other side.
Critical thinking is a skill. So you go. The reason you go to school, Western education, right? The biggest takeaway from Western education is to give you the ability to learn. That is the summary. All those mechanical engineering, all those things where we go study. The reason we went there, right, is to give you an ability to learn. Now, when you're able to learn, there are different elements. You're able to take in information. You're able to process information, which is where critical thinking comes in. And then not just process information, you're now supposed to use that information to create new knowledge, which is why they give us research projects. You're supposed to go and read up on different people's papers that they've written before. Think about it, critique it. What are the merits and demerits of this, of this person's position? And then what new information, I've done new experiments, and then, but this person's postulated something like this. Hey, but from my experiment, I'm seeing this. And then I've taken another person's theory and brought it together and said, look, if this person said this and this person said this, and I'm seeing this evidence, could it be that we could do ABC? And then you come up with a new theory. Critical thinking is a very important skill. Now, not just with scientific knowledge and scientific research, but also in day-to-day decision making, day-to-day life. People are telling you, oh, this happened between this person and that person. How are you thinking about it? How are you dissecting that information? How are you processing the information you've just received in light of what you already know and in light of the new information you're receiving? And then how are you using that to create new knowledge? We cannot make excuses. We are all educated, right? And so it starts with us. The people who are not educated, you can make an excuse for them because they haven't developed those faculties. We all have it in us. Quite all right. The black man is seen as less intelligent, blah, 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 all those things. But I don't believe so. I've interacted with people in different parts of the world. And I can tell you
but Uzo, you don't have sense now.
I can tell you that it's quite all right. People's IQ differs. So some people are able to process information faster. Some people are able to, all those things, math skills, all those things. But I've seen that guy. You are not inherently, like as a people, as a black people, whatever, you're not inherently less than these other people. No. Quite all right. You go into an environment. I've come into an environment. I work in a place where there are some extremely smart people, very, very smart people. But then I interact with them, and I'm doing strategy work. It's like essentially the sorry guys, hold on. I think I'm getting.
First of all, Emeka, I'm going to say something to you.
Yeah.
In terms of this smart thing, it's an argument I've had once with an older person, And just like you said something, there is no standard measurement of right and wrong. Yes. I also think that there is no standard measurement of smartness and dumbness. The truth is, everybody is as smart as everybody else. But the point is yes, smart. No, chill, I'm going somewhere. If you allow, that's the thing. You just said something now about understanding people's perceptions. Everybody is as smart as everybody else. The only problem we have or we experience is our application of our intellect, the smartness. A lot of people try to copy other people, and you see that when you're not doing something that is easily given to you, you will never really do as well or as much as someone who is in his own. It's just like going to America to go and fight Americans.
Sorry, I have to drop off. I'm getting a delivery. I have to go and pick it up. But you guys, I'll join you.
Right? So, okay, yeah. Let me continue.
Continue.
So the truth is, I don't believe. That's what my father taught me once. He said, nobody is lazy, nobody is smart, nobody is stupid, nobody is so hardworking. The only problem with a lot of people is they have not found what to do. they have not found that thing that appeals to them to do.
That resonates
Once you find,
with them.
you said, once you find, and that's, it still takes me back to a book I just read recently, Inner Will. When you find your inner will, you will see that your evolution process will make sense to you. Your smartness, everything you used to admire in other people will start making sense to you. The way you speak, the way you talk, the way you do everything. Once you find that thing that is given to you that you can easily do without even opening your eyes, you will see that you're not as dumb as people thought you were. You're as smart as the next person next to you and all that. But the problem is we leave our own thing and go and start like now. It's just like me waking up now. I leave what I'm doing. I leave my carpentry and leave hotel business and go and meet Uzoma in the oil business and go and be competing with him there. Truth be told, I may go and study so hard. I may go and do everything, get all the masters and come back. But if the oil industry is something given to Uzoma, since his kids, since his parents do the same thing and all that, you will see that he's going to thrive easily at that business better than I would do. I'll only keep applying principles that I learned from books. But Uzoma can just think about he can be creative about his business. And you will call that smart. But the truth is, he just loves what he does.
Dimple,
so the truth is, I hate to think that anybody is smarter. The problem is a lot of people have not found originality. And that's the issue.
I agree. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. I'll give you a very good example. I was working with a director on a project, and she will give me pieces of work. She had me take a lot of initiative on some things. When I'm not sure, I'll ask her, blah, blah, blah. And through that project, I noticed something. As a person, I'm more of a big picture guy. But in terms of
like a photographer.
No. So, in terms of like attention, my orientation. So there are some people are generalists, some people are specialists, whatever. So my orientation, I'm usually thinking more, what are the big parts of this whole? Like, what are the big parts that form this picture that we're working on, blah, blah. Like, what are those key pillars? How do those key pillars interact with each other? In terms of going down to the detail of each pillar, I can miss out on details. So whether it's from a complex, very long presentation where I'm putting out like, okay, these are our findings, blah, 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 I can miss out on things. But then this other person on her own side has a very, very sharp eye for detail. Even if it's something very tiny, she'll pick it up. She is better than me at that. It doesn't mean that this person is smarter than me. That's
exactly what I was trying to say.
But in terms of cognitive ability, and cognitive ability is your ability to learn, your ability to process information, your ability to retain information, and your ability to use that information to create new information. People are not on the same level. No, God did not create all of us the same. Some people have that more than others. Some people have creative skill more than others in terms of drawing and painting, whatever. You can bring them some math problem and they'll completely flunk it. Cognitive ability at mathematics, they are not as good. It is a fact.
Yeah, but now what you have done now is you have stereotyped your what's the word? Your definition of smart people to just people who can process informations better than the guy who is probably
cognitive ability.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily
that this person, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Instead,
I was correcting that impression because that was what you said. I don't think people can be.
No, look at it from the perspective of, at the very minimum, everybody should develop the ability to think critically. You live in Nigeria. You know a lot of...
No, I don't live here, please.
Yeah, a lot of... You see a lot of mentality, right? I hear say this one, I hear say that one. Then talk say this one, they talk say that one. Everybody thinks along the same line. This person talk this one, blah, blah, they talk that one. Everybody follows and thinks about it. You need to be able to come and remove yourself, first of all, from that situation and then look at it critically. Look at the different parts of it. Break it down. That is an ability that we all deserve or we all should develop. It is very critical, not just for you and your own personal decision making, but also, how do you even remove? Most times we are driven by how we feel. So how are you able to, you're trying to make a decision. How do you remove yourself and say, okay, you know what? This is how I feel about this thing. Yes. This is, in short, let me use a relationship, for example. You're with somebody. Naturally speaking, you like this babe. The babe is doing you anyhow. She doesn't take you seriously, for instance. Right?
Yeah.
You're trying to call her.
That's why
she's
I
not
am
picking
now.
your calls.
She's not picking my calls.
All those things. She's giving
Very
you
annoying.
excuses and all. You like her, yes, but you've
I
seen
do.
the signs. Are you able to remove yourself? Like say, okay, I know, say me, or if it's how I feel, this is how I feel. I want to continue trying on top of this girl's matter.
I've been trying. I've been calling Adobe. Even I chat with her, but nothing till now.
Or are you able to say, okay, let me step back. As a person, as a guy, these are the things I want. As a lady, these are the things I want. Blah, blah, blah. This is my personality. This is her own personality. This is where she's at. This is where I'm at. Blah, blah, blah. Does this work? Does it make sense to continue whatever it is that we have going? Does it make sense to try harder? Does it make sense to push back? So, blah, blah, blah. Like all those things, being able to make that informed argument and realize when, oh boy, I'm only making excuses for this person. It no be like, see, blah, blah, blah. And then maybe if it is the opposite is the case where you don't really fancy the person, you're like, okay, is it that I'm not, being as considerate because of the way I feel about this person? So it's just, I think critical thinking is a very, it's not very common, especially amongst our people, to be fair, but it's something that we have to develop. It's something that we have to, at least those of us who have the privilege, and then not just develop it, but also try to, send the message across, like get other people to be able to do that. Like there's a way you're talking to somebody, and then, there's a way you break down something for the person. Don't tell them you must believe this. Break it down.
Another thing I would like to add, Emeka, like one of the benefits, one thing I've noticed, if you see, people, really good leaders, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the strong attributes that they have is the ability to think critically, and that critical thinking in the sense that it does not judge, and that's why they are the way they are. That's why you're like, wow, I like this person, I like this leader and all of that. They can take decisions, very hard decisions, without necessarily being judgmental, because that means you must have gone deep to think like, oh, maybe there's somebody that obviously did not get his work done right,
Mm-hmm.
and then you want to make a decision based on a particular project. If you're not able to think,
they've taken light to.
If you're not able to think, you're not able to think critically, right? To see beyond why that person did not perform. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
You can just make a rash decision. I don't know if you get me, but right now we're already overshooting our time, so we have to round this up. But I would like Adobe to tell us something. I don't know why her screen is so dark. Is she in Richmond's garage?
For me.
Please, leave me an Adobe, please. It's a long.
Emeka,
I mean,
yeah,
it's not been an easy one.
Emeka, for me, right? People think critically. A lot of people think critically, but they think critically on what concerns them.
Yeah, Uzo, you spoke like a man.
Let's look at it another angle. They think critically on what concerns
Just like
them.
you talked about dollar now,
They
because
measure
of your
their
car.
losses.
That's the problem. That's the problem with the country. You understand what I'm saying?
No,
but sorry. Hold on. Adobe, say something now because we're rounding up already.
What concerns them? That's what they think.
Please, can Adobe speak? You guys should allow her to talk.
Adobe.
So I'm just going to do this one out. I don't really have a lot of
Adobe is in a bar. She's in a bar.
Basically, this topic is demands a lot of self-awareness, self-reflection.
Adobe, what's wrong?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, your phone is stammering.
Can you hear me now? Is it clear?
Go on.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. So I was saying I'm going to sit this one out. I don't have a lot to say about this. It just demands a lot of self-reflection, self-awareness, and I really want to say that I love how Emeka thinks. I love his line of thought on this talk.
I'm not hearing you, Adobe.
Hello?
Hello. They don't carry light for our side.
Hello? No, I can hear you guys. It went out for a bit.
She was just
Oh,
saying
okay.
she loves. She was just saying she loves Emeka. I don't understand. Continue, please.
Richmond, you don't lose this one.
Yeah, I was saying that I really like.
No, she like Canada. I know. No wonder. Let her continue.
Richmond.
Continue.
I said I like his line. I like his line of thought on this topic.
Of course.
Like how he's very insistent on the fact that.
Of course.
Which one allow her to talk now?
Oh my God.
You are denying us the opportunity of learning something from her.
Like I'm going to sit this one out. I don't have a lot of stuff to say on this topic. I just want to. I listen to everybody and I really learned a lot. And me, I'm going to be doing my own self-reflections and self-awareness.
Of your evolution and the little tenets and the little
Is still speaking English. Okay, now for this guy. Is still speaking English.
And and how that affects your experience, the experience you get out of life or out of your job, or out of your interactions with people, out of the activities you do every day, all of that stuff. It's really important. So yeah, I'm really glad you found it.
Adobe, I'm still in Nigeria for now.
Richmond.
He's not coming back. Adobe, I'm just saying this so because he's not coming back. He has gone on asylum. He's not coming back.
Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
You should work with me. I'm telling you.
Anyway, this was really a very interesting, to me, it was a very, very, very interesting topic, but something like this really should go beyond here. There's still a lot to think about personally, and there's a lot that we can gain from just this awareness. It's more of just let's be conscious. If you're evolving, the only way you can evolve is you